liquid gold and wealth under our feet than any other nation. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas.
I'm a failure because I haven't got a brain.
More liquid gold. Well, I just met non-liquid gold. You know where it was? Iowa. It's called corn.
If I only had a brain.
It's non-liquid. That's much. You have more non-liquid gold. They said, what is that? I said, corn. They said, we love that idea. You know, that's a pretty cool thought.
And if you only had a brain.
Isn't it? That's a nickname in its own way, but we came up with a new couple of words for corn.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I love that. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It is Saturday, 10 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm Jeremy. That's Mike. And we got a great show lined up for you. I know I say that every show, but this show, I really mean it.
Well, every show is
really
great.
mean it every show. Yeah.
Every show's great. Yeah.
So. Don't knock it, right? So we got a lot to talk about. We got more right-wing violence. We got beheadings. We got vigilante groups assaulting random people in New York. We got some crazy lady burning books, saying she's going to do more of it. Donald Trump decides to screw himself coming out of the Supreme Court. Tucker Carlson goes to visit his idol, Vladimir Putin in Russia. And then Mike Johnson continues to be an epic failure. My God. Could he have a more embarrassing week than what he had this week?
I don't think so. Literally everything he did, everything he was supposed to do, and everything he should have done took a big shit.
It really did. It really did. From miscounting the votes in Congress, which we'll talk about.
That actually happened.
Yeah. So we want to know, is he in charge or is Donald Trump pulling all the strings? I'm pretty sure that's kind of an easy question to answer, though.
Wait, was Kevin McCarthy more independent and functional than Mike Johnson? Because I don't know if I'm ready for that conversation.
You know, there are some Republicans saying that the biggest mistake they made was getting rid of Kevin McCarthy. And you know shit's bad if they're saying that they miss Kevin McCarthy.
That's pretty pathetic. Whatever.
I know. All right. So anyway, like I promised, we do have a great show lined up for you today. And we do have a very special guest. Mike,
we
if
do.
you would, please.
Yeah, no problem. Our guest today is someone who both Jeremy and I have been following and sharing content from for actually quite a while. And just recently, since we've been getting emboldened to actually reach out to people to be on the show, we decided it was time. So many of you already follow Purple Room Politics. And if not, I suggest you do.
Absolutely.
They are always to the point of the matter with facts and no fluff whatsoever. They're passionate about getting the progressive message out, which is what our goal is. And they recently started a podcast and started streaming on YouTube to broaden that message. So I would very much like to welcome from Purple Room Politics, Damon Cortez.
What's going on? Oh, I was pronouncing it wrong. Why did you tell me I was pronouncing it wrong? I'm like, hey, Damon.
It's Damon, but everybody.
Damon. Okay, my bad. See, we both did.
Oh, good. We both effed it up. So, all right.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. So, yeah, I'm Damon from Purple Room Politics. Like you said, it's a page for being progressive. And it's really trying to get the message out there from, like, I guess, a Black point of view. As many people, I'm not sure many people know it's Black owned, but it is. And that's what I really tried to do. I tried to really like put the Black point of view from it. So, and the progressive standpoint. So you see, I know like lately they're kind of going after the Black Republicans view.
Oh, yes.
Mainstream media is trying to paint a narrative that a lot of Black people are going are voting for Trump or on that narrative, and it's really just not the case. A lot of us are educated and we know what we're talking about, and I try to display that. So thank you.
The only thing scarier than an educated woman to Republicans is
right.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. We've got we've said it on the show before. The one thing I will never understand, actually, the two groups I will never understand is Latinos for Trump and Blacks for Trump. That shit confuses the daylights out of me.
And I think a lot of it, even for when the white people who support Trump, a lot of it is economic scarcity. Like they're in that mind state, and they play to that. So, and then like also these cultural wars that they put us in. A lot of times that their speaking points are right and they're correct, But then when they go to vote and they go to make these bills, it's the total opposite.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you said the right things, but then you turn around and didn't do the right thing. So it's like you got to pay attention to the both sides of it. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people get those speaking points and they think that they're right, and it's not. So
I think that's also across all cultures, all segments of the body politic, if you will. A general apathy for the process of it and the knowledge of it. So like so many people assume the surface of what they think they've known. And not only has politics changed so dramatically in the last few years, but that assumed, kind of tribal knowledge of how politics works and what things mean and who's on what side. So not real if it ever was. And people don't have the time. People working 2 jobs to bust their ass, then take care of their kids or, do a podcast or whatever. They don't always have the time to sit there and research. Okay, I know historically this might be true. And maybe there was a time where it made sense financially to support, let's just say for sake of argument, a Republican policy or a Democratic policy. But that might not be the case, and people don't have the time to re-educate themselves on what's really going on. And we get people that are willing to just stand by old tropes, maybe.
And it's funny you guys say that, because honestly, I think that's why shows like ours even exist. Is a lot of people used to go home, kick off their shoes after work, and they would watch the news.
And
now corporate media is constantly trying to paint a different picture than what is actual reality.
Exactly.
Trying, especially in networks like Fox News, you got other right-wing media that just lie constantly. They just want to make people so afraid that they're going to vote for Trump because they think Trump will make their fears go away somehow. I don't get it.
Well, now you also have, unfortunately, I mean, I don't want to say there was a void left by Fox, but in the knock down a peg of Fox, like you have a CNN who, I don't want to say they've gone fully to the dark side, but at least MSNBC at least tries to put the veneer of fairness.
Yeah.
But like CNN is like diving into it.
Republicans and things like that. So they're trying to play the middle ground. And this isn't the time to play the middle ground. It's not safe. It's not even safe to vote that way. Regardless of what their rhetoric is. And to me is like the biggest mistake that people make is grouping everyone together. Like the old Democrats of the 80s and the 90s aren't the same Democrats of today. Correct. You can't tell me that AOC is the same as Joe Biden or like Jasmine Crockett is the same as Mitch McConnell or any of those people are the same.
Good old glitch.
It's you have to learn to separate everybody and know that the government is forever changing. People change, and the Democrats of the past don't have the same views, and neither do the Republicans. Like Biden said, these aren't your grandfather's Republicans.
Yeah,
not at all.
Thing. I mean, the Gen Z Democrats, for example, are not the Dixiecrats.
Exactly.
And the Republicans today are more openly malignant than in the 80s, when even though they were still a racist party that wanted money over anything else, I mean, they didn't get rid of Roe v. Wade. They didn't try and pass all these crazy laws to limit Black history and this. So both parties have evolved to meet the current voter base, if you will, I guess. And sometimes people are manipulating those voter bases, and sometimes it's organic. We like to think the progressive one is organic, but who knows?
It's hard to think that like it wasn't Abraham Lincoln a Republican?
Of course. So like, and that's the other thing they like to bring up.
How do you go from that to what it is now?
Like they don't understand the switching of the parties and
like even former Black Republicans more had like the Democratic views of today, and a lot of and they try to manipulate like a lot of Black people, like Kanye West per se. A lot of them are having that old Black Republican mindset where it's the Democrats that are bad, and it's like no, like they've been switched, and like the mindset's been switched. Like get on today's. Like you can't tell me that like someone like Gary Chambers, who was in Louisiana, who smoked a blunt, and his ad is the same as Joe Biden. It's not the same.
Are you serious? I want to beat that guy.
Well, but it's so true, because it's always been like this. The older generations want to hold on to what they think they had and prevent what they think they're losing. And we're at a point now where the younger generations are finally going, no, we're not going to do this anymore. You guys either have to die out or get with the program. because the world has changed and you don't get to vote as if it's still 60 years ago.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Well, Republicans are terrified of Gen Z. Absolutely
really
horrified
are.
of Gen Z. I mean, they were even talking about raising the voting age just to eliminate million. That would have eliminated millions of votes.
Yep.
Right.
If they were raising the voting age from.
But let me
18 to
tell you,
21.
there are some Gen Z voters who are firmly in the MAGA camp, and we could have a whole show about why that might be. But the majority of young voters, I'm going to say the majority of voters in the 40s down are trending towards progress.
And
the younger generations are.
Today, with today's technology, podcast, and nobody can just go and sit in front of, like you said, the news, their Fox News, and get all their information, or they're just on the radio just getting their local news. Now you can see things from the world. You can know that I can see what's going on in Chicago or LA or New York and Pennsylvania at the same time, and I can know that a lot of the stuff that they're saying is lies, and and I don't have to be indoctrinated just by my local news. And I can believe whatever I want to believe now. So, and people younger have that today. They didn't have it when they were young.
It's such a spectacular misunderstanding of technology by older generations. Like you have in Florida, I think they did pass it where they like banned TikTok for like certain age kids
under 16 or something.
And obviously they're pretending to use it. Of TikTok is trying to no one's trying. I mean, yeah, they're all mining our data, but so is Facebook.
It is about data, but they make
if you put the data aside. If you put that aside, what you're really trying to stop is young people from being isolated.
Right.
That's what you're trying to. Or you're trying to continue that.
Trying to make them.
You're trying to continue that isolation.
I read an article. The reason they want to get like kids that are under 16 on Facebook and social media is because too many kids are monetizing and making millions of dollars.
That's true.
And they're not entering the workforce like us sheep did back in the day. You know, we were told like our parents worked their whole lives and then they reached 65 and they retired.
Years and never got
that gold watch.
Right? Those days are over. Like kids are like, you want me to do what?
I've said this a million
shit
times.
Job that nobody appreciates me and work there for 30 years and just kind of like make middle management. Yeah. Like, no way, man. Come on. That's not the reality.
I told my boss who I've been working with for 17 years. He's like a father figure to me. I told him, I'm like, if I ever quit, I will never give this place 2 weeks notice because they don't have to give me 2 weeks notice.
I'm out.
Exactly. All right. So a little off topic there. So, all right, well, let's get into some of these topics here. So we've had a really weird couple of weeks as far as right-wing violence goes. Pennsylvania man cut his father's head off.
Allegedly.
His father was a federal employee. Then he posted a YouTube video with the head in a bag. And it was nothing but right-wing conspiracy stuff, MAGA shit. It was nothing. And this is what we talk about. People are going to die as a result of all of this propaganda and hate that is being spread. And that's a perfect example. Not only that, we have, what else do we got? Paul Fay arrested at the border, who was planning to act as a sniper.
More right-wing
migrants coming across the border. He was arrested, thank God.
Why do all these assholes want to start like a veiled race war?
Right, it's like when you hear them speak, like the Justin Moan guy. When you heard his video on YouTube, like it sounds just like a Republican congressman. Like everything that he said, it was just you could just put a suit and tie on him and put him on in front of people, and he's a Republican congressman.
Just regurgitating talking points.
Exactly, and like y'all got to realize how dangerous that is. Like he really like went and cut his father's head off. Like
he did that. Yeah,
dangerous is your rhetoric. Like that's crazy. So
like remember when like we had the Unabomber and we were like he had a manifesto and we were like, oh my god, that language is crazy. Well, you just said it. You just said it right there. These people sound like politicians on a Tuesday now in Congress.
Exactly.
Now that video did get 5,000 views before it was taken down finally. So I didn't know all you had to do is put a decapitated head in your video to get a bunch of views. Who would have thought?
Not that we're
if I would have known that, I would have tried it earlier. I mean,
we're advocating using prosthetic heads.
Right.
No, yeah, we're kidding.
Like Kathy Griffin.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to play this video. This is a group, this is more right-wing violence. This had me pissed. This was on the live television. A group called the Guardian Angels. Mike knows more about them than I do. They are a group out of New York who basically just walk around looking like a gang out of Greece with their red jackets on, walking around snapping and shit. But they just assault this guy, just a random black or brown person that was walking by, and they called him a migrant.
It's also the most set up. It's also the most obviously set up segment I have ever seen ever.
And they in the, I can't remember if it was a tweet or part further into the interview, they were talking about. I mean, my thing is, how do they even know this guy was a migrant? How do they know this guy was a migrant? And they said he was shoplifting. How did you see everybody in the freaking video staring at the camera and watching the camera people? How did you see a guy shoplifting? So let me just play this video, and they just jumped this guy for no reason.
Divide 53 million by 500. That's $106,000 debit card. Not a bad deal. I don't think they're giving them to vets that are homeless in New York City. Not that I've heard, Curtis.
Well, in fact, our guys have just taken down one of the migrant guys right here on the corner, 42nd and 7th. While all this
Can you
is
pan the camera?
They've taken over.
This guy ran for mayor.
They've taken over. Like the camera over there, if at all possible.
He sounds like a very high intellect individual.
You got your key open, guys.
Curtis Lewa is not a high intellect person, let me tell you.
He sounds like Omer Pyle from.
He is out of control. Out of control.
It's out of control.
Hey, they're literally just harassing.
All right, now Eric Adams often complains he's getting no support from the federal government to help him with the surge of Joe Biden's unvetted illegals in New York. And that could be because of the so-called border czar is a little distracted right now. According to a report, Vice President Harris has now suddenly, quote, found her foot.
Shut up.
That is an assault on live TV, and Sean Hannity makes it seem like it's the government's fault for not giving them more. They have no official authority. They don't have the authority to ask your immigration status. Like if I was walking down the street and these people came up with their freaking berets on and matching coats, like, where's your green card? I told them to go fuck themselves.
This takes me back to like the times where, they deputize white men to go after black people all the time. Back in the times of lynching and slavery. And it's the same thing. Like if you put Black Lives Matters clothes on those people, then Fox News would have a whole different type of segment.
Oh my God.
This is very dangerous, and this is giving leeway to people doing the same thing in their cities. Yep. And it's not good. It's very criminal. And like you said, who are you to judge that's for one? How do you know he's illegal?
Well, he's brown.
And right. Also because he's brown, that doesn't mean that there's also people that are white that could be illegal from different countries.
Whoa.
Mind blown.
Oh my God.
There's white immigrants too. Holy
and also, how do you know he was shoplifting? Like you said, it's you're in Times Square. How do you? I don't know.
Right.
So
there was no chaos going on in Times Square.
I want to provide a little context. The Guardian Angels have been around, I believe, since the 70s.
Yep.
People who live in New York, like myself,
right,
come in two groups. There's the ginzaloons and idiots who are like, yeah, I see something, I do something. Right. Okay, that's not allowed. That's why we have laws and police, and you can't just shoot anyone on the street. Then there's the other group of people that grew up with parents who were smart enough to tell their kids that's vigilante justice.
Right.
They have no badge, they have no authority, and they're literally just racist, bigoted bullies.
This is a gang.
That they are a gang. So when you saw them not just standing in a circle and detaining a guy, which is illegal anyway, but they were physically putting their hands on him and roughing him up. Let's say that person was illegal. Let's say that person went up to them and said, I'm an illegal alien, I don't have papers, and I just stole this. Right. They don't have the right to touch him because they are not the authorities. In a civilized society, we allow certain people designated as authorities to deal with those things. Right. If you allow anyone to do that, especially in states that have, I don't know, open carry, if that happened in a Texas or somewhere else, that person would be dead. And let me tell you, we're headed towards that.
Well, and also, like, you're dehumanizing like people. They have rights, and this is America. And even if you're illegal, you still have rights.
What?
You absolutely do. And now let me add to this. If Donald Trump is reelected, groups like this will be deputized
100%
and normalized and armed. And if you think I'm
Just
playing,
like the Proud
I'm not
Boys and
exaggerating.
all them, and well, a lot of them are in jail now, but
Yeah,
more of these groups do exist.
Their leaders might have went away, but the structure's still there.
Exactly.
It's a bunch of grumpy incels with guns that are like, you took our leaders.
It is. All right, so the next video I have is from I'm going to follow up on that story, by the way. I hope the person they assaulted just sues the living shit out of them, takes their red jackets and berets away from them, just for fun. The next one is a like you said earlier, uncontested, running for Secretary of State in Missouri. Valentina Gomez makes a social media video burning books with a flamethrower. Here we go.
From a Missouri Public Library. When I'm in office, they will burn.
Her name may be unfamiliar to you, but this video is rippling across social media. This week, Valentina Gomez set books containing LGBTQ content on fire. She claims they're grooming kids. The St. Louis City resident is running for Secretary of State in Missouri.
Tonight, First Alert 4's John Kipper is hearing from the woman setting books ablaze and vying for your vote.
This is what I will do to the grooming books when I become
even allowed
Secretary
to
of State.
have a flamethrower?
Valentina Gomez, burning books she says grooms kids.
Not everywhere.
Books in question, Queer, Ultimate LGBTQ Guide for Teens, and Naked, Not Your Average Sex Encyclopedia. It's a strong political statement garnering many negative reactions.
It's extremely problematic, and that type of hate-filled rhetoric, honestly, it has deadly consequences in our community.
Brittany and Heather Dyer have been a couple for 11 years and live in Springfield, Missouri. They're especially alarmed by Gomez as she campaigns against LGBTQ books in public libraries.
Why does she have
DEI, LGBTQ, and critical race theory, and the second.
Oh my God, you're a Latina who's complaining about
like you said earlier,
and
like there's
critical race
nothing worse.
theory.
There's nothing worse than like a red or Republican, Latino, or Black person. It's ridiculous. Like they literally kind of say they hate you every day, and you go out and support them. And then also, she's like Vivek, where you can just kind of just say and do anything that the right wing will just like, and you'll just like who knows if she really believes any of that stuff, like about those books. But it's clickbait, and it gets the people going, and it fuels into their hate. And it drives their campaigns, and it's like she's just a grifter, and
she's like Lauren Boebert. It's just like,
well, what I'm worried about is who stuff like that inspires. So, like you said perfectly, maybe she doesn't believe it, and she's just doing it for clickbait and whatever. Fine. But you're still putting something out there that is then by default validating what you're doing in the eyes of other people who may believe even more strongly than you do or don't. So you're now putting out something there, completely disregarding the power of stochastic terrorism. Okay, let's face it, that's what it is.
Yes.
Because even burning books is an attack on free speech.
Exactly.
Now, the right doesn't actually understand free speech. They believe it's just I can say whatever I want. They haven't figured out that's not what free speech is. But
not at all.
You're normalizing, and then they're promoting people like her and those videos as a viable political option.
Right. And it's very selfish of her. Like it's very all about her. It's all about her advancing her career, and she doesn't care who she hates, or she doesn't care if she believes it or not. It's very just selfish of her, and it's a lot of the same thing with a lot of right-wing people. Like she reminds me of like Vivek, where you just go and repeat everything that you hear or see on Twitter in the comments. And and burning books, it's like she's not the first Republican to burn books, and it's like she probably won't be the last. But again, you don't care what hateful rhetoric that you have because it advances your career.
I wonder if she even realizes the symbology of burning books. If it even has, I don't even think that she even realizes that this is a Nazi.
Somebody else do it and copy it.
I mean, let's face it.
I don't even think this is a Nazi thing. Burning books is a Nazi fascist thing, and I don't even think she realizes it.
The irony is, people who burn books have never read Fahrenheit 451.
Exactly. Like she probably doesn't read books at all. Like, and a lot of who are banning these books, they haven't read these books. They don't know what's in them, and children should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. Like at what age?
Yep.
Nobody's forcing anybody to read these books. I mean, these are like young adult, at least young adult books. You know what I mean? 17, 18 years old would be like the age appropriate for these books. Like nobody's going into the libraries and checking out inappropriate books. That's what librarians are for, to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen.
And as like a gay person myself, that like when I was young, like, and you're going through like a lot of that confusion age, like you're like, okay, well maybe this boy is kind of cute. Or you know, and you kind of are confused about it, and you don't have anything to lean back on. Like I would like kind of like watch some shows that had gay people in it, and it kind of like inspired me, or like, okay, this is kind of normal, but maybe it's not. And like those books will give you like legitimacy that it's actually out there. And make
I think they're discounting the importance of books like this, because like I grew up in the 80s, okay? I was born in 1977, okay? I born late 80s, early 90s. We had to figure everything out on our own, including sex.
Exactly.
We didn't have the internet. We didn't have books that we could go check out really to learn about stuff like this. This, I think, helps young adults adjust to adulthood and realize who they are.
But that's what they don't want.
In the 80s and 90s, your first time, you're pretty much just fumbling around and hoping it works out right.
And I also think that people forget like that when you're young, even as young as like elementary school, like you know what sex is, you know what gay is, you know what a lot of things is. Like my nephew is like 7 and my nieces are 5, and they said, I heard them talking, they're like, oh, he's gay or something, you know, like they're 7 years old, they know what it is. So
what
like
the problem is that we don't care.
Is ridiculous.
We don't care, they care. And that's the horrible part about it is, you know, like again, like you said, you know, they're just saying these things out loud as if they're politicians. Well, these are what the politicians are saying, and they're so ignorant and afraid and indoctrinated in their own belief systems that they think it's okay to say this isn't allowed. They're not doing anything. They are deliberately making the decision that being gay or reading about Black history or any of the stuff that they're trying to ban by burning books is bad inherently.
This is how narrow-minded and stupid Republicans are. I could probably sum this up. Do you think they think that their straight child is going to go into a library and pick out one of these books and then become gay?
Exactly.
They think homosexuality and transgenderism is contagious. Or
and
like
the thing is, it has to apply to everything. It can't just apply to gay people. Like if I go watch a movie about killer clowns, then it has to apply to that way as well. It can't be just one thing in a book. It can't be one thing in a movie. If I'm watching a scary movie and it's a serial killer, why can't I become a serial killer?
Well, they say that
if I can become gay from TV, then why can't I become a serial killer or superhero?
Exactly.
It has to work with everything and not just one thing that you point out that you think is wrong.
I mean, to be fair, they have been and always will be trying to ban pretty much everything that isn't the Bible. So, like, they've been trying to ban video games forever, or horror movies, or Dungeons and Dragons, or Pokemon. Anything that they think might cause deviant behavior, they don't want around. They literally want Gilead from The Handmaid's Tale, where the only book is the good book.
By the way, I love him.
You don't have conversations.
All right, so let me go on to Donald Trump for a little bit here. Let's change the subject.
All right, but this
is great. So the Supreme Court hearing he had was for the Colorado to see if he was going to remain on the ballot, and I'm pretty sure they're going to vote in his favor. Why enforce the Constitution at the Supreme Court level? I mean, this doesn't make sense.
That's a whole show on its own.
But the funny part is Donald Trump comes out. His lawyers the entire time are like, it wasn't an insurrection. It was a riot. It was a riot, but it was not an insurrection. So what does dipshit do when he comes out? He starts talking about the insurrection and gives like a 5 or 6 minute campaign speech. I managed to cut it down to like 1 minute and 8 seconds. So here we go.
So I just say that in watching the Supreme Court today, I thought it's a very beautiful process. I hope that democracy in this country will continue. Every one of these cases you see comes out of the White House. It comes out of Biden. We are leading in every poll. We're leading in the local polls, in the state polls, and we're leading in the swing state polls. and we're leading very big in the national poll. So we have open borders, you have crime. Nobody's ever seen crime like this, what's happening. And now the crime is being committed, much of it by the migrants that have come in illegally to our country. I was wondering about that. I said, you know, a lot of these people come out of jails, they come out of mental institutions. I heard and I watched. And the one thing I'll say is they kept saying about what I said right after the insurrection. Because I think it was an insurrection caused by Nancy Pelosi. This was an insurrection, if it was an insurrection. If you take a look at those 5 or 6 tweets, you will see very beautiful, very
This is an insurrection if it was an insurrection. I think it's an insurrection.
He said it 4 times.
I think it's an insurrection. It was definitely insurrection. If it was an insurrection.
What is an insurrection if that wasn't one?
Right.
Like literally,
Exactly.
people died. They shitted in the Capitol floor. They broke windows. They sat in Nancy Pelosi's desk. Like it's ridiculous. So if that wasn't an insurrection, please let me know what.
Well, I got to tell you, I have had plenty of people in my comments trying to convince me that it could not have been an insurrection because the crowd wasn't armed with guns.
But they were. Did you see anything about the January 6th committees?
Oh, but that's fake news, though. See how, like, you know,
well, tell that to them who are in Stewart, whatever his name is that's in jail for conspiring an insurrection.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? We haven't gone over any of our slides. So let me bring up this. Which one is it? Oh, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene's post on Twitter. I'm fed up with the liars. Of course, she retweets her own stuff. Democrats and the media have lied, labeling President Trump an insurrectionist without evidence and without single J6 protester being charged with this crime. And of course, I had to put the crime is called sedition, dipshit. And yes, many people have been charged with that.
Not only have many people been charged.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I thought it was BLM and Antifa. So who was it?
Right.
So
Which story is it? Like, you can't get the story straight. It's
one
so
minute
bad.
it's BLM and Antifa, and then the next it's they're innocent bystanders. And it's no, like we all saw it with our own eyes that day that it happened. And then we all exactly. And I don't know, but I watched the January 6th committee and all their findings, and it's hard to say that was not an insurrection. So even Trump knows it was an insurrection, and hopefully the Supreme Court, to me, is like, I really hope that they keep him off the ballot, because if that wasn't an insurrection, that just opens up for even more something worse to happen.
Yep.
Right. So, at what point do you label it an insurrection?
Well, what I find funny is,
you know what I mean? After they burn buildings to the ground.
Yeah, and then to me, it's like,
in the Congress and stuff.
He doesn't necessarily have to be charged with it. Like, you engaged in it. Convicted of it. If he's charged with it, then that means he engaged in it and it happened.
Now, all I got to say about that is Jack Smith has all the tweets, all the messages that were deleted. He even has the geolocation of where everybody was when they received those tweets and messages.
Right.
So that is going to come out.
What I find the most funny is they like to pretend, the right, MAGA, that it wasn't an insurrection because there was no gun. Whatever, fine. What's really behind that is, in my opinion, not a trained psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever, but this is just my observation. I believe they fundamentally believe it was not an insurrection because they can't imagine that if it was, it would have failed. They're so hyped up on their own militianess and their own righteousness and their own validity in their beliefs that they cannot imagine that the majesty God Trump and all these brave patriots would actually be a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, that's what they can't get that through their heads.
They can't put it through their heads because it's to me, it's always about race, and it's like,
oh yeah,
and they can't believe that they could commit that they could do an insurrection, and it would have to be in the form of black people or Muslims or someone else. Like, that would be an insurrection. Like Van Jones said, if Obama sent 10,000 or whatever black people down, they would be in jail.
He brought 5 people down
under the jail. It'd be labeled insurrection, not a tour or whatever. Rona McDaniels or whoever.
Yeah.
And
look at what Trump did. So this is another thing that I find hilarious. What did Trump do during the BLM protests? He had a bunch of troops standing there for show. So that actually disproves his own argument that it's Nancy Pelosi's job, because he did that when he wanted to. So he could have done that when all those white rednecks were doing it. But if Obama decided to show up one day on a Thursday with 5 black people, they would have all been shot down. So let's not, like, again, they're showing us their whole ass because they're not good at this whole thing. They're just blunt forcing it, and they're blind and missing wildly.
And they all did it in the name of Trump. It was Trump flags. It was Trump. Trump told them to march down there and fight for him, and
they did.
But now it's an insurrection. It wasn't an insurrection. Now it's an insurrection. It's just someone else's insurrection.
Like we like to point out on the show all the time, the insurrection has not stopped. Okay, it's still ongoing.
Right, exactly.
Of people in the government trying to overthrow said government.
Mike Johnson.
Yeah, we'll talk about him more in a minute. So, in more Trump news, there was a hidden room in Mar-a-Lago that the FBI did not search. That apparently was the
There's
locks were
exclusive
changed.
photos of it.
Yep,
Wow.
we do have exclusive photos of it. If you want to go ahead.
Here we go.
Yep.
This is an FBI rendering of Trump emerging from a secret room at Mar-a-Lago.
That's right.
He thought it was a toilet, and to be fair, it might have been because there was a lot of documents found in one of his toilets. So
true.
Right. I don't know how they've not rated it yet. I'm sure they've got surveillance on the guy. They have to at this point. I mean, I don't know. They know that documents went through Bedminster, and they've still not searched Bedminster. They railroaded Joe Biden on the freaking report that just came out, trying to make it sound like he's an idiot, which was intentional because the guy who did the special counsel the guy that was the special counsel is another Trump Republican sycophant.
Right.
And they found nothing, so they had to throw in something. So they made the cognitive decline thing.
Because why would the cognitive thing have anything to do with discussing and devising or determining if there were document mishandlings?
Right.
Because adding that in there has nothing to do with the scope of it. Did he take them? Did he not take them? Should he have? Should he not have? It has nothing to do with his
You can also go back to all the times that Trump said he didn't remember, or he didn't all the times that in his depositions that he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Or like, and to me, Joe Biden played that well. If you want to play the old senile white man, sure. I agree with you. That was a good defense in his case. But again, you can't, that doesn't negate all the times that Trump had all his mental issues and
oh my
problems.
God, there's so many.
Yep.
So many.
Exactly. Even
there's
last
so
night
many to choose from.
he had some.
Yeah, last night he forgot he said it was Saturday.
Exactly.
Friday. He didn't know what day it was, guys.
3 a.m. every night, so he has no idea what day it is ever.
Exactly.
No, he's on his post True Social post.
Yeah, when I post his Truth Social stuff, like I'll go to his page, and it's like it's nonstop. Like, Trump is nonstop on there.
Well, here's him.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Here's him on the border. All a president has to do is say, "Close the border," and the border will be closed. A new costly bill is not necessary.
Not,
but just like Chip Roy even said it. Like, well, why didn't Trump do it?
Yep.
Right. Why didn't Trump do it? Because you can't do it. You need
and the math shows there were more people coming in illegally.
And here's
under
the thing:
Trump.
if you close the border, that doesn't staff the border. That doesn't fund all the tech needed at the border to do all that stuff. It doesn't hire more judges to process asylum seekers faster. It does nothing.
Because they don't want that.
Problems.
They just want to close it and not
chaos.
It ever again. That's it.
Well, let's not forget Donald Trump wants to build an iron dome over America. And I like to point out that before he realized it was a missile defense system, he thought it was an actual dome. And that's when he talked about building one. He wants to build an actual fucking dome.
Steve Bannon or somebody can steal the money.
Exactly.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. All right, let's move on from Trump. I could bash this guy all day long. It's so easy. Tucker Carlson decides that he's going to be a journalist and go to Russia to interview a war criminal, which he is possibly going to seek or be receiving sanctions for. But let me play the clip from CNN just bashing the living crap out of him.
We're here to interview the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin.
Tucker Carlson is lying from the streets of Russia, no less.
Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the
Damn, one
president of
sentence.
the other country.
She's one of my
involved in
favorites.
this
I love her.
conflict, Vladimir Putin.
That's a lie. Serious news outlets, including CNN, have requested Putin to interview over and over again.
Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. They've never heard his voice.
Yeah, we do.
Another lie. Serious news outlets, including CNN, have covered and, of course, reported on Putin's words since this war began, including one of his baseless justifications for the invasion of Ukraine, which he initially claimed was to stop the Nazis.
First, because it's our job. We're in journalism.
Tucker Carlson is not a journalist, not even close. And his former employer in a court case actually agreed, quote, the general tenor of the show should then inform a viewer that Carlson is not stating actual facts about the topics he discusses and is instead engaging in exaggeration and non-literal commentary.
So the owner of the network said in court, we are not a journalistic outlet. The people who work for us are entertainers.
And he was fired from that position.
And he was fired from it.
$100 million debt.
Yep.
And I think what Tucker Carlson is doing is just very dangerous, and it's traitors to the U.S. Like if that's in a way one of our enemies, and you're going over there and giving them a mouthpiece, and to say that we never heard Putin talk is ridiculous. And
like, do we even want to hear Putin talk?
Exactly. Like
who gives a shit what the guy says?
Exactly.
I don't care what he feels about things. Like
big pick me.
The right wing currently is their only way to get out their message is to pretend that two-siding everything in every situation is a valid decision. If you have someone on camera beating a SEAL to death, you don't then get to say, well, maybe that SEAL, woke him up while he was sleeping in a tent. And that was one of the worst analogies I've ever come up with. But my point is, I don't even know where that came from. The point is you can't say that, you are trying to represent real facts of both sides of a story.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no actual other side. Like, at some point, you have to recognize that there are facts and then there is rhetoric.
And there's no need to represent that side. Why do we care what Russia has? You're from the United States. You should be for what the United States stands for. Like, who gives a shit what Russia thinks?
Right. Have these people not seen Red Dawn? I mean, come on. I mean, we've never been for Russia, ever. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweet about this is what real journalism looks like from Tucker Carlson.
Is it?
And Elon Musk is protecting free speech and free press. Get fucked, you psycho. Tucker, I mean, he sat there, Putin ranted and lied for 2 hours, and Tucker just had that stupid look that he always has. That
and then
just nods. You know what I mean?
No one said, thank God the CIA didn't allow you in there.
Right? And he just sat there like shaking his head, like, oh yeah.
Jeremy, you said this earlier. Like all Putin did was word vomit like Trump. It was basically a nonsense puff piece for himself. Yeah, and at the same time, at least Trump sometimes doesn't make fun of the people interviewing him, but Putin was just like, you're a clown.
This was like a Newsmax softball Trump interview is what this was.
I'm more interested in another video that you have of Tucker Carlson.
All right, let's play
now,
that.
Wait. This is all speculation, but I think the three of us agree there is a heightened sense of fear in Tucker Carlson's eyes and voice and his demeanor. And I don't know if there's any foul play. I have no insider knowledge. I have not been to Russia. I am not a Russian agent. But I will tell you right now, they're in a weird basement, and Tucker Carlson is not happy.
He does not look comfortable at all.
Thank you for having me here. I really do like it. I'm not just saying that. And again, why do I feel guilty like I'm betraying my country for saying that? I'm not. I love America. This is a really nice city, and I don't care. It's true. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day. What do you think about Russia?
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. I think this city I've never been here before. I think this city is really pretty. This is the only place I've been in Russia. I want to go to Siberia. I want to Lake Baikal. I want to go to St.
No one
Petersburg.
wants to go to Siberia.
I'm hardly an expert. I mean, culture is a complicated thing. I don't speak the language, so I know very limited amounts about the culture other than what I've read and experienced in the past week. But I think this is a beautiful city. I can say that, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's just true. And again,
what was he talking about? So
here's the guy asking the question, though. The guy was like, "What do you think about Russia?"
I kind of love the fear in his eyes because, like, you get those people like Tucker who think that they can go anywhere and do whatever they want to and say whatever they want to. But now you're in Russia, you're acting like a little scared little bitch.
Yep.
And it's funny.
You can tell he was scared in that video.
Well, he says, I don't know anything about the culture because I can't read your language. So you're telling me there are no books about Russia written in English?
I know, right? You couldn't have.
You haven't watched a documentary on National Geographic about
Wikipedia?
Russia? Also, you don't want to see Siberia. And even if you did, maybe have some knowledge knowing that Siberia is used as a giant frozen gulag where they literally torture people. No one wants to go sightseeing in Alcatraz. Oh, wait. Yeah, we do. But you know what I'm saying.
I wouldn't. I mean, the Russian accent, to me, there's a comedian that does a bit about this, and I totally agree. Like, everything you say in Russian and Russian accent sounds intimidating.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Everything.
I'm glad he looked terrified. It's funny.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Like you could tell
asking that question. What do you think about Russia? And the guy's like,
Like, you know,
I like it.
He may be found in somebody's basement somewhere.
I like your city. Am I allowed to say that? What?
Yeah.
What
I don't care what anybody
talking
thinks.
about.
I love it. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's freaking out. Has
You can
anybody
see though,
seen
because that
Pakman since
started
then?
with that's the video. He's like trying to go through that door, and he was like hesitating to like not go
Right.
through these. Like I don't know what to do.
Has anybody
Whatever.
seen Tucker since this interview? By the way, I'm just curious. I haven't seen any.
Did he make it
activities.
back to the U.S.?
I gotta look on Twitter to see if he's tweeted since he's had this interview.
They
And
said
I
that they put out
actually-
like an unedited version, or he put out an unedited version, and then Russia edited it or something. I don't know, but
yeah, and that's been called absolutely boring, is what the review
right,
was. I saw.
I posted that too. It was boring.
Yeah, he did. That's right. It was just bad. So, all right. Last topic on the list. Shit, it's already been 47 minutes. Sorry, guys.
Wow.
We do have to talk about Mike Johnson real quick.
Noah
The
himself.
weirdest guy and probably the biggest failure in the House of Representatives, possibly in the entire government.
Maybe in the history.
Can't control the House, can't get counts right. And they even tried to stack the deck to try and impeach Mayorkas.
Yeah.
They intentionally did that vote because Al Green was in the hospital, and then they
Al Green
miscounted.
got his ass up.
Yeah, he did.
This dude checked his ass out of the hospital after having abdominal surgery, got an Uber while in scrubs,
Right.
and went and voted, bro. That is
It's
like,
almost like the Republicans didn't even know what the word impeach meant until Trump was impeached.
Oh yeah.
And now they're
Right.
just trying to impeach whatever they can, or it's just trying to retaliate from Trump's both impeachment.
I know
actually
one
video for tomorrow's
Republican
show.
that doesn't know what the word indicted means, and they think it's pronounced
Indictable.
indicted. Indictable.
Dick everybody. She's just got dick on the brain ever since she got her dick. She can't get enough of it. All right, let me play Mike Johnson here, thinking he's Moses, and this is not a joke.
That's
He said
he
this
really
multiple
does.
times.
That's not hyperbole. No sound.
Oh, hold on, my son got a boner. Let me check my phone.
No sound. No sound.
Oh no, no sound.
Yep.
What is with this video and you guys? I don't understand why it doesn't want to play. I can hear it.
Yeah, I can't hear it at all.
Yeah, I heard the sound.
Maybe it's just me. All right,
Mike. This is the second time, and this is a whole different clip. I tried to. I wanted a blind reaction from Mike. I wanted a blind reaction from Mike the last time he tried this, and I played this video. Every other video had sound. This video, no sound. And now again, I don't understand it. It's God. It's God working against us.
Yeah, Mike Johnson is trying to speak to his Christian nationalist base and trying to activate those people, and it's part of their whole.
I mean, this guy has a
rhetoric.
He has a Christian nationalist flag outside of his office, hanging for a Christian nationalist group.
I mean, he is a major part of Project 2025.
Yep.
He is someone that
was
has
instrumental
worked
in getting Roe v. Wade overturned. He was part of the one of the main people that helped get that done.
He is the person I am afraid of that I thought a Mike Pence would be. But I'll tell you right now, a Mike Johnson would not have done the right thing when it came down to it on January 6th.
Oh, no, definitely not.
And the reason is because he is so convinced of his own righteous mission.
Exactly.
And he is so convinced that the world is a true battle between his beliefs and the entire evil rest of the world, that he will do whatever it takes to bring about his ideal Christian America. And that is not an exaggeration. He has said so. He talks about it. He will say in one thing, this is a fight for absolute truth. No, it's not, because you're not fighting for truth. You're fighting for assumptions. You're fighting for beliefs. Truth is no harm, no foul. That's literally absolute truth. And that is not what you want. You want to harm everyone that isn't playing by your rules.
Exactly. The whole opposite of Christianism, I guess, or whatever word that is. But y'all don't, the whole using Jesus and Moses and things and go out and spew the whole opposite of really what they meant is just crazy to me, and it's dangerous.
I find it hard to believe this guy. I mean, he says he's a devout Christian while he monitors his son's porn intake. That's just creepy to me. Okay. And I still think, I don't know. To me, that's just weird. Like, that's,
to me, like as the laziest house that we had in years, like they should be doing whatever they can to try to pass as many bills as they can. But no, it's all for Trump, and we want to get Trump in there, and nothing is for the people.
Right? They wrote a border bill. They wrote it.
I was just going to get
wrote a border bill, the most aggressive border bill in modern history, and the Republicans wrote it.
Exactly,
and they still shot it down.
So there was the one that was the compromise that didn't get passed, but no one's talking about the fact that they also presented a standalone, just Republican, just border, no other package, and they still didn't pass that. So when people are trolling,
it's not about the border is their last hurrahs. The last thing that, like, they already went out there, Hunter Biden, so he's already been indicted and whatever. The next thing is the border. What else can they talk about? Like, inflation's down, the stock markets are up, and it's the last crime. Despite what Trump says, like, crime is down, and it's the last thing that they're hanging on, and it's like you guys can't hang on it for a whole year. So now you're just looking like you're selfish and you're not doing anything for the American people. It's all about yourselves.
I mean, what's going to happen? Are they really going to kick him out and do another speaker vote? Like, guys, I'm not saying I'm trying to help the Republicans, but like at this point, February 10th, you fucked up already. You should have been passing your bills for years so that you could start right now running into the election and running on what you accomplished. But instead, you're still just trying to blame people, impeach people.
But
did you pass anything at all that did anything for anyone?
You know what they also could have ran on at the election? Passing the border bill.
Exactly. Like, no, but you want to do it with Trump, and they don't realize that these older Republicans, the ones that are really out there voting every single year, they're sick of it.
Yep.
They're sick of the back and forth.
You got people retiring because of it.
Of it being all about Trump, and you're not getting anything done. No, they want to see progress, and then whether it's either way, but It's not happening at all, and you're not getting anywhere with that.
They had the perfect opportunity. We wrote and passed the most aggressive border bill in modern history. They could have ran on that platform.
Right. Like Joe Biden literally said, "I'll shut down the border," and you guys said no. So
exactly. It's so dumb. All right, so yeah, let me play the video. This is Mike Johnson responding when asked, "Is Trump in charge?" And this is in response to comments he made in a different interview. I think it was either on Fox News or Newsmax, where he said that he talked to Trump in great detail about the border bill. Which, why are you talking to Trump about anything? He's not the president, nor is he a government official of any kind.
But let me ask you about Donald Trump. He said any Republican who votes for this deal should be ashamed of themselves. You've said you speak to him frequently and that you've discussed this deal with him, quote, at length. Is Donald Trump calling the shots here, Mr. Speaker?
Of course not. He's not calling the shots. I am calling the shots for the House. That's our responsibility. And I have been saying this far longer than President Trump has. I have been saying what the requirements are to fix the problem. I don't care if they call the legislation H.R. 2 or not. What we're saying is you have to stem the flow. The president has executive authority right now. As Congress does this negotiation and the debate and discussion, the president could stop it. Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, the Supreme Court has already acknowledged, gives the president broad executive authority. He could close the border literally overnight.
See, but you know what's beautiful about that? He's again saying, we just want the border closed.
Right.
He's not saying we need to find a way to ensure that asylum seekers can still come through and be processed and we can do this. He's not saying we want to make sure that when we do again open the border, we have staff, we have technology, we have a plan, we have infrastructure. He didn't say any of that. What he's saying is what he means. We just want to close the border.
Right. All I hear is, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do my job. I want to give it all to Biden to do. I don't want to do, like, this has been the laziest Congress in decades, and you still don't want to pass any bills. It's ridiculous. Like, I just want to pass the torch to Biden. And then also, like, you have to think about, well, Trump had his 4 years. Why didn't he do it then?
Right.
If 2 weeks.
All up to
It's
the
happening in
president,
2
then
weeks.
why did Trump not do
2
it?
weeks.
2
Right?
weeks.
Because he kept planning it 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, the border bill is going to come 2 weeks after the healthcare bill. After in 2 weeks, you're 100% right. Trump did nothing with his time in office. The things he did do were to make people's lives shittier because he's a spiteful, disgusting racist, and he still didn't shut down the border. Why? Was it because the wall thing was a grift? Was he working with Bannon to get the money from the wall? And again, I'm just pulling this out of my ass, but my point is, he did nothing when he had the power. And if he's saying that Joe Biden has the power to be a despot, to be a dictator for the good of the country, then why didn't you do it?
The entire immigration system is broken, and they don't want to fix it. They just, like you said,
that's what they want to turn around and do. They want Biden to do some executive orders so they can say, oh, well, Biden is a dictator now. Biden did this and Biden did that, and then they'll sue him. You know, Greg Abbott or whoever. They'll be the first ones to sue. Texas. Be the first one to sue, just because they didn't get to do it. So it's all a cat and mouse with them.
And I like to say on the show, I like to point out on the show that all the research shows that our country greatly benefits from a healthy immigration system.
Yeah, they said it brings they said last night, I think it was AOC, that
it was AOC.
Yeah, that it'll bring in about $7 trillion or something.
Yeah.
And who owns all the businesses? All you conservative people are like
right.
They have this. All these immigrants have to shop. They have to feed themselves. They go out and work. And who does that benefit? It benefits.
Yeah, you think?
Well, also,
you think those rich white assholes would love immigrants,
isn't it?
I would think so.
They want to say it's illegal immigration, but really, it's illegal employment, because if you didn't want to pay nothing, you wouldn't be using cheap, desperate immigrant labor.
Exactly.
Right now in Florida, there's no houses being built because all the people that they employ are illegal immigrants.
Right.
There's no food being picked in Florida, in Texas.
Who owns all these companies? The immigrants don't own these companies. Why aren't they hiring you?
Oh, wait. I'm also waiting for, and I didn't come up with this, but I agree with it. I'm waiting for the first time a white American goes, you know, I loved my job bending over in the heat, picking food all day. It was the best job I ever had, and some immigrant took my job.
Yeah, and
I've not heard that once yet.
Yeah,
they
me
took
neither.
our jobs.
Let me tell you, I know a lot of people.
All right.
I have friends and family that have businesses in contracting and roofing, and those businesses are hard. They are difficult.
Okay,
Even the best ones struggle, and there is no one that works there for them that loves climbing around on a roof and putting up a roof. It is a hard, shitty job.
It is.
Go do it.
So.
Go put your money where your mouth is.
All right, everybody. That's all we have for today, unfortunately. Damon, thanks for coming on the
Thanks
show.
for
I
having
hope we
me.
have you again in the future.
Yeah, you're
definitely.
welcome anytime.
So yeah, I do appreciate it, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun. So
when
that's what we have
does
for
your
today.
podcast come out, like on YouTube, and what's your schedule? And
I try to do it on Sundays, and then I like probably post it on Mondays. So,
and what's your? Do we have his Instagram handle?
my Instagram is purpleroom_politics.
There you go.
And @_Damon Cortez. And you
All
can
right.
find me on YouTube as by Damon Cortez as well.
Nice. Are you on Twitter at all or no?
There's a Purple Room Politics page on Twitter. I don't post there anymore. The engagement really wasn't.
We're feel you there. 'Cause that's the
I
problem
really
we're
just don't
having.
post there anymore. It exists, but I just really don't update it.
Yeah, our stuff is like I post on there for our page, but our stuff doesn't get pushed to other people's feeds. I mean, we have huge
Instagram
accounts
is like
following
the
us.
major outlet. So like Instagram has been pushing a lot of my videos lately.
Mhm.
Like I've been getting like 100,000 views on some videos.
Oh, that's great.
And like so they vary. Like I think maybe because it's like political season.
Yeah,
but
probably.
they've been really pushing like a lot of my stuff now.
Good. All right, well, we'll definitely have to have you back on the show. Maybe you can have us on your show. That would be fun too.
I
That'd be a
totally
switch,
will.
wouldn't it?
Hell yeah.
Be on somebody else's show for a change. All right, everybody, have a good day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. doing our weekly review of all the insane shit going on in politics right now. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. We've gotten a lot of new subscribers. We've actually managed to quadruple our subscribers on YouTube since we started in October, and we're just getting warmed up. So the more we figure out and the more we upgrade our tech, I promise you, we will be a force to be reckoned with. But for now, we're just having some fun. So thank you.
For now, we're
again
just a
for
rock in the
joining us.
shoe.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Yep. Have a good day. Talk to you guys soon.
I used to use the word incompetent. Now I just call him stupid. Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir. I know that.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
He's got a higher IQ than any man alive.
I said, yes, sir, but you're on flagpole.
Things like supply chains, things we never even heard about. You never heard that term.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I am willing to go to jail if that's what it takes for our country to win and become a democracy again. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, missile launch, pshing, boom.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Sure is a lady.